realmente lo he hecho mil y una vez. Que lo haga otra vez que no significa nada, es otro juego. Eh, a seguir golpeando, a venir lo que he estado haciendo, que es mantener mi control, mi preparación. Creo que eso es todo.
I've done it many, many times. The process of my preparation doesn't change. I've been doing this, especially after the All-Star break. I put a lot of my confidence in my preparation, and that's not changing. So I know it's a big game, but the process doesn't change.
Herman, you faced the Brewers back in May. Didn't go as well as you would have liked. How much of that start, as far as facing the hitters, do you study going into this one? How much of it do you really kind of put aside because you're out there?
Creo que ellos tienen buen equipo ofensivamente, darle crédito, pero de mi parte voy a, como digo, seguir ejecutando mi plan, dando lo mejor de mí, dándole el chance al equipo para así poder ganar ese juego y seguir en la serie. Seguir en la serie.
We all know they have a potent lineup, but I'm going to stick to my plan, which is executing my pitches, hitting my target, and give our team a chance to win games and stay close in games. They do have a good lineup, that's no secret, but we have a good lineup as well.
Herman, this will be your first postseason start, but you did pitch in Game 1 Cincinnati, almost tiebreaker. Being in that kind of postseason-like environment, how much more do you feel like you're more prepared just from the end of the season and then pitching that game, and now how much more prepared are you now, and if so, how?
Creo que la preparación sigue igual. Fue bastante emocionante para mí lanzar ese juego. Creo que cada juego desde el principio es muy importante y siempre que tengo que dar el todo por el todo para así darle el ganado al equipo mío.
Again, my confidence relies on my preparation. That game was awesome, very exciting, and we just got to be on point from pitch one. One pitch at a time, executing my pitches, hitting my target, and that way I'm going to give the team a chance to win.
Herman, famously on opening day this season, you pitched in some snow. The weather reports seems like there might be some rain, might be cold again tomorrow. How do you feel about that, and how do you feel in terms of your preparation?
Creo que no le voy a dar mucha mente a eso, al clima. Creo que fue un factor que me perjudicó en el primer juego del opening day aquí. Creo que me perjudicó un poco y por eso vengo con otro plan de no pensar en el clima, sino en el juego y enfocado en lo que voy a hacer.
I'm not going to let the weather affect me. I learned from it opening day here. I let the cold weather affect me, and I learned from that. So that's not going to be anything that is going to hurt me now, because I'm ready for it, and it's going to be cold for everybody.
Herman, Christian Yelich, we all know, has had an incredible season, incredibly hot. With so much at stake, do you approach him any differently in tomorrow's game as you would say in a regular season game, considering what's on the line?
No, hay que darle crédito, es un buen bateador, pero igual yo tengo la pelota en la mano, soy el que tengo el control. Voy a tratar de dar lo mejor para así sacarlo abajo, ejecutando, más nada.
I got to give him credit. He's a great hitter. Everyone knows that. But again, if I got control, I got the ball in my hand, and if I execute my pitches, I like my chances of getting him out.
Herman, tomorrow, obviously, potential for an elimination game, a lot of pressure on the team to win tomorrow here in Colorado. Do you go into this game with any additional preparation, or do you treat this like you would any other start?
Confío en el equipo, confío en que siempre hemos dado el todo por el todo, no hay ninguna presión. así pase lo que pase mañana, vamos a estar agradecidos con Dios. No siento que no hay ninguna presión.
I believe in my team. You know, this is a great team. You know, we've fought together to get to this point, and there's no really additional pressure. You know, we prepare, we get ready to fight, and, you know, we're still grateful for being here, and I'm going to do my best, and I'm sure my teammates are going to do their best to hopefully win this game.
Buddy Black, you could have gone Freeland, and then you then Freeland. How did two-part question, how did the conversation go when he told you that you were getting the ball tomorrow? And also, can you just explain what pitching here means to you? The numbers look good. I know we've talked about Freeland also being from here, but I take it this is a pretty special place for you.
Boris y yo tenemos buena comunicación, confianza ante todo, respeto. Creo que, ¿qué fue lo que dijo?
¿Qué significa para ti entonces el lanzar aquí en Denver? Hablan de que Freeland, como nació aquí, se creó aquí, le ha puesto tremendo numerito aquí, pero que para ti también es un lugar especial de poder lanzar. ¿Y qué significa para ti?
Sí, seguro que sí. Desde que subí a Grandes Ligas fue con este equipo. He reconocido bastante este estadio. El apoyo del público, todos esos afectos, creo que me han llenado bastante para así poder lograr todas esas cosas.
I love Buddy Black. You know, the confidence, the communication that we have is second to none. The respect. As far as pitching here, it's a special place. You know, this is the team that gave me a chance to make it to the big leagues, and, you know, there's always going to be a special place in my heart for the city of Denver and for this team. And the fan support has been awesome. They've embraced me like no other, and, you know, I'm grateful for that.
This is probably the most successful and consistent Rockies pitching staff we've ever had. Can you point to specific things you've picked up from some of your colleagues in the rotation or on the pitching staff that have helped your development over the last year or so?
Dice que este ha sido uno de los staff más consistentes que ha tenido la organización en la historia, que algo que tú has podido aprender de tus compañeros, los otros pitchers, para tener el desarrollo que has tenido y el éxito que hasta ahora has logrado.
Creo que tenemos un buen conjunto de lanzadores. Esa juventud que tenemos, creo que esa hambre de seguir adelante, de seguir batallando, es lo que me ha inspirado a mí en esa competencia bonita que tenemos, de hacerlo bien todo el tiempo.
I believe we have a very special group. The youth that we have in this pitching staff, the way we push each other to become better. We're competing with each other. We're not competing against each other. And I think that competitiveness has really inspired me to continue to do my very best, and has also helped my other teammates, my pitchers, to do their best. So it's definitely a blessing that we're all in this together.
Yeah, there was a day a few years ago in spring training where Jeff Bridich got all you guys in the theater, all you young pitchers, and said, hey, you're the guys that we're going to win with. Do you remember that talk, and did you think, yeah, they don't have to go out and get an older, experienced pitcher. I can do this, we can do this, the guys we have?
Siento que él creyó en nosotros y nosotros le dimos ese respaldo y esa confianza que él nos brindó. Creo que ha sido bastante satisfactorio para nosotros demostrarle a él también que sí podíamos llegar lo bastante lejos aquí.
He definitely believed in us, and I think that we backed it up. And you know, right now, the way we believe in ourselves gives us the confidence to continue to perform here and to get deep into the postseason like we have this year, and hopefully for many years to come.
You used to roll the sleeves?
Creo que sí lo usaré porque ha estado frío mañana y sí, igual no lo veo a mente, pero sí la voy a utilizar.
I'll use it tomorrow for sure.
Well, it's going to be different for sure, Ed. I mean, we won't know how to approach it till the game unfolds. I think our moves will dictate how you see it, right? But we know we have to win. But to tell you, a certain strategy, we won't know until tomorrow. We know this is an elimination game for us. That was the worst route I've seen a microphone take in all my years in the game. That was incredible. That was brutal. No, I mean, no. Yeah, he is. He's a cool customer for sure. He was probably that way just moments ago, right? No, we told him, going into the series that he was going to pitch the third game. So he was excited to pitch in the postseason. He's ready for this. It wasn't anything profound about what we said. That continue, and we'll talk tomorrow too. I mean, pregame, but do your thing. I mean, you've had a great season. You're in great position physically and mentally to go out tomorrow and throw well.
You guys score lots of runs. You're comfortable here. You've been winning here. How important? I mean, do you see that as a series reset?
We hope so, Richard. I think the second half has been much better than the first half here. That's for sure. I think because it was documented early how we weren't playing great at home, but our second half record much better. And I think offensively we got a little bit more untracked as the season went on. Today's a good off day for us for sure to regroup a little bit, get the guys off their feet. It's been a hard couple weeks, going through the last 10 days of the season, having to play the Dodgers, then the Cubs, then the two games in Milwaukee, but our guys will be ready to play tomorrow, and hopefully, at home, front of our crowd, a different vibe tomorrow. We'll jumpstart our offense.
While they did pitch great, you guys did chase a few pitches.
Yeah.
How do you fight through that?
Well, I think you have some conversations with some guys that look to be a little bit out of sorts, and we'll have those, and hopefully that they can settle down. Because some of the at bats that you are seeing are not indicative of our guys. So, we'll talk about it and we'll try to do it through conversation. But ultimately, it's up to the player to really have that feeling of comfort and confidence at the same time.
Richard, kind of took part of my question just to follow up a little bit. There's more to this tomorrow, buddy, in terms of your offense than simply coming back home, correct? And you do have to take a hard look at where some of these guys are. In other words, it's not going to just magically get better because you're hitting the coolest.
No, for sure. No, this is about having good at bats. It isn't about where you're playing. I mean, we've seen our offense go, into sporadic little downturns over the course of the year, which all teams go through this. We've talked about that during the course of the season. We had a little downturn, there in September, then we bounced back. Now we're in a little bit of a downturn this last week. So it doesn't matter where you play, you still have to have good quality at bats, no matter who the team is, where you are, and there's something to facing good pitching. There's something to that, but in general, the quality of our bats have not been great.
Milwaukee won their first two at home. You're now back at home. What kind of factor does playing in your home park have to do in the playoffs?
Well, it helps, and there's statistically there's a home field advantage, right? Just if you look at the history of the game, there is comfort in being back home, being in your own environment. But still, you got to play a good game. It doesn't ensure anything. But we would like to think that, because we're back home, we have an off day, things can shift. And if we win tomorrow, things shift a little bit more. So that's what we're hoping for.
Buddy, you guys had an arduous regular season. You guys had dramatic wins, dramatic losses. I imagine that the guys in there have a short memory for these types of things. How has that translated over to the postseason, do you think, given game 163 and then winning that wild card game and now in this situation, has that steeled your guys in a sense?
Well, I think so. I think our guys have been that way. I think our guys, for the most part, are built that way. They have, like I've said before, a great baseball IQ. They have a great perspective on what this game is all about as far as emotional wins, emotional losses. This is an everyday game. And our guys have done that, in front of my eyes the last couple of years. And, this last couple of weeks, this stretch of baseball has been, in front of us, having to prove our resiliency. That our last road trip of the season, how we rebounded from that. That last week of the season, how we played there, and then the ups and downs of L.A., Chicago, Milwaukee. We've rebounded. Now we got to rebound again. We know we have to rebound again.
Buddy, yesterday, Craig Counsell was saying that the story of the series is how they have pitched. Seems to me if you've gotten a couple runs here and there, it would be how you guys have pitched. If you could kind of characterize for these 3 games, first your starters, Freeland and Anderson and I lost my mind. But
Our 2 starters pitched. Well, Freeland pitched in Chicago, and then counting that game.
And also the bullpen. I mean, just a separate inning. Seems like those guys have kind of gotten into it now.
Yeah, Craig was right. It was well pitched in Milwaukee, well pitched in Chicago, actually well pitched in L.A. I mean, that was a 5-2 game. I mean, it was, Buehler did a nice job. Herman gave up a couple homers. Kyle pitched great. Lester pitched well. The game went 13 innings in a 2-1 game, so that's well pitched. The game in Milwaukee was, 2-0 going into the ninth. They hit Yelich hit a 2-run homer. So in that ballpark where, it's pretty offensive for me. That's a good place to hit. And there was a low-scoring game, both games. And I agree with what Craig said, is that it was well pitched by both sides. There was a couple breakthroughs, even yesterday. Their first run was a couple hard hit doubles. Then after that, there was some well placed base hits. Kratz got the broken bat hit off of Russ. It's baseball, but I thought both sides pitched well, and we'll see tomorrow it can that can continue. I mean, in playoff games, you're going to see good pitching. There's going to be those games that sometimes are not indicative of a playoff game. Last year's wild card game with Arizona, I think the Dodgers and the Astros had a big number in a World Series game, and that's that happens. But usually playoff teams are teams that have good pitching, and I suspect that will continue.
Buddy, so much to say about the Brewers bullpen through the regular season and into the postseason. Given the bevy of arms that they have out there, is it challenging to scout and prepare for just that?
Well, I mean, the challenge is in the batter's box. I mean, they've done this, in a pretty consistent way all season long with a group of guys that are very talented. 2 of them were all-stars this year, right? And Jeffress and Hader. Knievel was an all-star last year. He's got a good arm. Soria is a veteran pitcher who knows what he's doing. I mean, those guys are solid. They really are. And, some of the guys that they have out in their bullpen who are starters are good pitchers too, who potentially could be in these games. But, the challenge is, they're coming, and you got to be ready for them and hopefully break through. I mean, they're not invincible, but they're good. And, we gotta be ready for them because they're coming.
I'll ask you the same question I asked Herman. The report looks like could be some inclement weather tomorrow. There was opening day when he took them out there.
Right.
He admitted that it got to him a little bit. Just told us he thinks he's past that. He's learned from it. But for your team in general, advantage for you guys playing in a controlled environment?
I'm going to say no, but I'm happy that Herman, was honest about that opening day, and happy that he said he learned from it, which is part of experience, part of a second-year player. As far as the conditions, I don't think it's an advantage to us or a disadvantage for them.
Specifically with Trevor Story and also Nolan Arenado, guys that have gotten a lot of attention, and the numbers haven't been what they would like in these two games.
In these two games.
Yes. Do you address it with them about, maybe not trying to take too much on their shoulders? Or,
Yes.
and how do you do that?
By talking to them. And not specifically, I'm not going to tell you what I'm going to say, but yes.
And I guess as a manager, you have to be conscious of that for guys like for some of the guys where there's a big media attention on them, there's fan attention on them. How going into a series, are you thinking, hey, this could be an obstacle or a subject?
Yeah, but you got to wait and see how it plays out. Then once it plays out, you address it.
I think that helps us. Baseball is a game where you do it every day, and being in your comfort zone can be important to your performance on the field. And sometimes when you have crazy travel and weird circumstances, and a lot of times playing in the playoffs or a wild card game just changes the dynamic of the amount of stress the players feel. So I think just being here back at home, staying in your bed and being around people that you're more comfortable with, I think that can only help us.
You said last year that when you played in the wild card game, they really gave you a lot of experience and information you could carry into this year. After 2 games of this series, are there things that have hit you and the team that maybe are kind of new, and what have you learned from that? You guys discuss those things.
I think having played last year has helped me a lot this year. I knew what obstacles I was going to face, and most of what I faced going into the postseason, having learned it from last year, is that it was going to be difficult for me to control how I felt on the baseball field. There's a lot of emotions. You maybe get a little nervous. Your adrenaline's going. Like, all these things kind of mess with your feel for the game, and I felt like that was my main goal this year, to come out and be in control of my thoughts and keep my heart rate from spiking and all that kind of thing. And I did a really good job of that in Milwaukee, and that was my main goal, and that's going to enable me to be a good baseball player. And I think every game that we play is only going to help us in that respect. So I expect, being back at home, having a day off, that kind of thing is going to help the Rockies get back to where we need to be.
Okay, I guess just one more. Wade Miley has had some success quite a bit against the Rockies here, and overall, can you talk about just what he brings to the table and the things you guys have to do to combat him?
I feel like Wade is a guy who's been around for a little while. He knows what he needs to do to be a pretty good pitcher, and there's a lot of things that he does to try and make hitters uncomfortable. He throws a lot of cutters. He works quickly. He is aggressive. There's a lot of things that he does, but we've seen all these things before. I think we only faced him once this year, but it's good to have some video on him. I've faced him quite a few times in the past with Arizona. It's not anything crazy that we're going to be facing that we haven't done before. So I feel like we're in a good spot. We're going to be well prepared.
Charlie, I feel like a hallmark for this season for you guys has been when you have a tough loss or you lose a tough series, you always seem to bounce back, run off a string of wins. What kind of confidence does that give you now that your backs are against the wall?
Sure. We've we've lost some big games before. We've lost a few big games before, and it seems like every time we do that, we bounce back well. We lost the series in LA, and it kind of looked like we weren't going to make it to the playoffs, and then we came out and put a bit of a streak together to get here. So I don't think there's any panic in our clubhouse. Guys have the confidence that we can bounce back. That we know we're a good team. We've won a lot of games. We've been in this position before. So I think guys really you have a lot of confidence in the spot that we're at right now.
Charlie, when you're going up against the Brewers team and facing so many different pitchers in one game, particularly Knebel, Jeffries, and Hader, how do you adjust? And what are those challenges when you're only seeing them once in a game and there's just such different types of pitchers?
It is different not having 3 or 4 at-bats against a starter. It is different facing these guys that are really max effort guys who might have a little bit better stuff, but the fact that they can keep bringing multiple guys in makes it such that each at-bat you're facing a tough pitcher. I think one of the advantages that those guys have is that they don't get seen a whole lot. Over the course of a season, you might only get to face those guys 1 or 2 times a piece. And now, since we've faced them a couple times already in the first 2 games, I think that gives us a little bit of an advantage. Having seen them, we know what adjustments to make. We have seen them in the game pitch to our teammates, other left-handed batters. I think we'll be a little bit better off next time we face them. But it is different. Each at bat's completely different. I think that's where preparation comes in. Having a good idea what this guy's stuff looks like or what his tendencies are, I think can help you go into an at bat where you only have 1 at bat against this particular pitcher. And to be honest, we've already passed that stage now. We're getting to the point to where now we have firsthand experience. We've already faced this pitcher, and that's way better in terms of going into my next at bat rather than just looking at it on video. I've actually been in the box and faced that guy before.
Does their sustained success with just so many arms, leading national league wins, primarily with their bullpen, kind of speak to the climate of what baseball is when you're winning?
I think so. I think a lot of teams are going to sit down and look at how the playoffs went and analyze who was successful and why they were successful, and then try and replicate that going forward. And it happens every year. It seems like a couple of years ago we wanted the Ben Zobrist, hybrid can play anywhere player, and last year it seemed like the big thing was the super tear down. You tear down your team and be crappy for a couple of years and try and get all your talent to arrive at the big leagues at the same time. And I think this year, the new trend is bullpenning. But I do think over the past few years you've seen an increase in specialization in the game. And that means more matching up, more players that are really good at one particular thing, especially on the pitching side. And that seems to be, I go out there for 1 inning, be really, really good, and then I don't have to pitch again until the next day or the next day. And if you can if that's the strength of your team, if you can find 4 or 5 guys that can all be that guy, well, then you can, have 3 innings from a starter and then somehow piece together the rest of the game. It's just really hard to get to the playoffs like that. You can't expect Jeffers to throw 4 innings in 2 games consistently over the course of 162 games and still make it to the playoffs.
First home playoff game in 9 years, probably going to be packed and noisy. What do you envision it being like tomorrow, and how much is it going to help, or how much could it help?
I think it's going to be packed. I think Denver's really going to turn out. I think it's going to be very loud. I think it'll help the Rockies for sure. Everywhere we've played, it's been super loud, and everybody hates us. So now it'll be super loud, and everybody loves us, I hope.
Jonathan, you answer outside looking in, I think it's easy for us to look at some of the bats in Milwaukee from your club and think maybe you guys are pressing a little bit. Is that a fair critique, or was it just that the Brewers were just pitching you and they had scouted you well?
Yeah, I'm probably only going to speak for myself, and I felt like I said, I was in control of my emotions. I didn't let the atmosphere get the best of me. I felt like I took some good swings. I felt like, I had some near misses. They made some good pitches. I feel like I swung the bat better than maybe the results would indicate. I feel like a few other guys were in the same boat. And then, it's possible that, some guys were still trying to cope with the atmosphere of the playoffs. I don't think that's the case. Most of our guys are, they've been there and done that. So it's kind of hard to say why we haven't scored as many runs as we should have. But I don't think there's reason to start changing swings or, hitting the panic button or anything like that. I think it just that's just how it turned out.
Charlie, you talked earlier about your ability to control your heart rate and so forth during the two games in Milwaukee. Given the circumstances tomorrow, the significance of the game, do you have to take a slightly different approach to this one, or do you come at it the way you would any game?
I would, and we've had some conversations about this, but I'm trying to make every game be a regular game in my mind, which means I try my hardest every time I go to the plate. It shouldn't matter if it's the first inning, the ninth inning of a game in May or a game in October. So there's not like levels of effort where sometimes I try hard, sometimes I don't. I think the more important thing is to control your emotions and your anxiety and that kind of thing. So letting those things go way up high just because it's a playoff game is not going to make me a better baseball player. So I'm going to try and do the exact same thing. I'm going to have a clear mind, and I think it'll be easier being here in Denver with a home crowd than it would be on the road where you're maybe not as comfortable. I felt like, honestly, we had really good at-bats against him, and every time I've faced him, I've felt pretty good. Not to discredit him, he had a great year. I think the thing he does best is he looks to be very consistent mentally. He's very aggressive, has a lot of confidence, goes out there and pitches with conviction. I don't think his stuff is far and away better than anybody else who's in that late inning role. I just think he's found a way to make it play up by being good for him every time he goes out there.
Charlie, anytime the Rockies are in the national spotlight, it seems like there's a little bit of uninformed maligning of Coors Field and the effect that has on the team. Can you say anything to, is there anything you want to correct on the record about the Coors Field effect, as well as things that you think the team has been able to take advantage to make this a significant advantage this ballpark for you?
Coors Field is a unique challenge. Nobody else in the game faces what we go through. At elevation, you're consistently exposed to less oxygen. You don't recover as well over the course of 162 games. It's more likely that you're going to get hurt, wear down, lose weight, get sick, those types of things. That's not including what it does to the actual game of baseball. The balls move differently at Coors Field, whether they be pitched balls, thrown balls, hit balls. The ball has less air resistance at Coors Field. which is different than every other park. So when we play at home, you know, half our games, we get very used to what the ball does. And at such a high level, even fraction, like, you know, small percentage changes in what the ball does is a big difference. You know, if I were to be just a 10% better hitter, you know, that adds, you know, like 20, 30 points on your batting average. That's significant, right? Well, if the ball does 10% something different here versus somewhere else, it's a big adjustment for players playing at such a high level to make. So if you get used to playing at home and then you go to San Francisco, which is the complete opposite end of the spectrum, it's going to be a tough adjustment to make, and vice versa. So I think, you know, people don't give that aspect of it enough credit, and how hard it is to adjust going from home, road. And it's not just hitters. I mean, you'll see pitchers. You'll watch pitchers come out tomorrow, and the first time they throw a breaking ball, it's going to like spin and be up high and not have a lot of good shape on it. And then when you see guys go on the road, the first breaking ball they throw after being in Denver, it seems like they spike it in the dirt. You know, I mean, it changes the feel of the game a little bit. But at the same time, we're big league players. You got to figure it out. Nobody cares because it's all about results. So, you know, it's our job to overcome that.